Welcome to Funnel Hacker Radio Podcast, where we go behind the scenes and uncover the tactics and strategies top entrepreneurs are using to make more sales, dominate their markets, and how you can get those same results. Here is your host, Dave Woodward.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Funnel Hacker Radio. I'm your host, Dave Woodward. Everybody here, you guys are in for a crazy ride today. I'm so excited today. We have the opportunity of having Ilan and Guy Ferdman. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
So trying to find out exactly what these guys do is amazing because they do absolutely everything and they do it all extremely well, which is why they actually have a podcast called Have It All. And so I highly recommend you guys check it out as far as the Have It All podcast. It was funny, my wife and I she is actually creating the Have It All Moms podcast, so we'll have that conversation later. But again, I want to just kind of let a little background here. These are guys who basically started off wanting to be coaches in the personal development, high performance coaching side, and realized to do that, they had to get really super good at marketing, which they've done. And now they've realized what their passion is really helping people achieve high performance. And a lot of the personal development, they're creating apps. They guys just realized this is going to be a fun show. Hold on and let's get going.
All right, let's do this thing.
All right, guys. So real quick, tell me, as people, first of all, I want to talk about the podcast because I think it's, I actually was just having this conversation with Russell the other day. He's created a new podcast on a religious topic. He also has a new podcast, or basically we just changed marketing your car to marketing secrets. I was talking, I was listening to Gary Vee, and one of the things he was talking about was the importance of podcasts. You guys have been doing this a long time on the podcasting, and I think it's really cool what you're doing. So if you don't mind, guys, give some people a little idea as far as what you're doing with Zoom, how you're using the podcast, the video, the audio, splicing it and cutting it up, and how you're driving traffic.
Cool. Yeah. So just real quick, we had a podcast before the Have It All podcast called the Performance Enhancing Podcast. And the whole concept behind that was we were really known and kind of pigeonholed, I guess, as Facebook marketing guys. So like everyone that would come to us, help me with my Facebook marketing. Meanwhile, my brother and I love personal development, reading all these books, having all these experiences. And I just felt like we can never talk about it. So I said to my brother, I was like, what if we just create a podcast? And that way we could talk about all these other cool things that we love and do. And so we did that. And so we learned a lot over the last, I think, it's probably like 3.5 years now since we started the podcast game. So we've learned a lot of things that don't work. With the new podcast, we're implementing a lot of the things that we learned that do work. And one of those things is, like you said, we use Zoom. We actually record audio and video of all of our guests. And even now, Zoom gives you an option where you can Facebook Live the interview. So that way we also get engagement as we're live with the interview. People can ask questions, things like that, which is really cool. And then we splice that episode. So there's a full episode on YouTube that we launch, and then we splice up certain sections of generally the person that we're interviewing, or if it's just my brother and I, of us, with captions. And that way you can share things on Facebook, on Instagram, YouTube, things like that, and promote them as well, which has really helped our podcast grow.
That's fantastic. So just to kind of clarify, it's a Zoom video. The video is done on Facebook Live. The Zoom video then is put onto YouTube, and then the audio is taken off, and the audio is then put onto iTunes. And
Correct.
then you also cut and splice some of that, and then put those as Facebook ads. Is that what you're doing?
Correct. And one other thing which we actually haven't done with this one, we used to hire a writer to create like little articles about the podcast as well, which we haven't really done with the new one. But yeah, for us, it's like if we're going to spend an hour of our day creating some piece of content, then to distribute it to as many media channels and as many different forms makes the most amount of sense.
Oh, I love it. Again, for all the guys who are listening right now, you've heard me rant and rave about this, and this is one of the things I cannot express it enough, and that is you have to be producing content. No matter what industry you're in, you have to find a way of producing content. I don't care if it's through videos, through audio, through podcasts, whatever it might be. It's one of the things here at ClickFunnels headquarters. As you've seen, we're doing a ton of, we've got now Funnel Hacker TV. We've got on that YouTube channel, we actually have 4 different channels there and playlists. And I highly recommend everyone, as you guys are listening to this, pay attention to what Ilan and Guy are doing, especially from using Zoom. I think, guys, it's actually one of the things you'll see Funnel Hacker Radio go to next, and that is Zoom on our Facebook Live channel and getting additional attraction. So, guys, if you don't mind, Ilan and Guy, tell me kind of as far as one of the things you mentioned earlier is the fact you're actually getting a ton of podcast traffic. How do you actually, because one of the things people always ask me, and that is, well, Dave, you got this podcast, but how do people actually, what do you do with the traffic, and how do you get that traffic to convert? So what are you guys doing to convert traffic?
Bro, you want me to take it?
Sure, if you want to.
Okay, so I will tell you how we did it before and why it didn't work, and I think why we're doing this one so much better. So a lot of the times, like our podcast previously was very broad. We just covered a lot of different topics, and we brought on a lot of guests and things like that. And it's great. I mean, people got a ton of value from it. This one is the intention of our current podcast is to give people an idea and a feeling of what it's like to work with Guy and I as coaches. So our podcast is derived from different coaching calls, different distinctions that we share, things that we would share with our clients. And so what's been working really great with this one is at the end of every episode, we just tell people, listen, you can email us, you can reach out to us, etc. And people do. And, you know, like we'll get multiple times a day, people reaching out, hey, love your podcast, heard this one, had a follow-up question, or this and that. And it just leads to a conversation, which ends up leading to them joining one of our coaching programs or hiring us for XYZ. We had a woman out of DC hire us or want to hire us to come speak in front of lobbyists, like state lobbyists in government, just from listening to our podcast. I was like, you do know that we kind of are up to disrupting government. She's like, yeah, that's why I want you there. I was like, okay, cool. Just so we're on the same page.
We've also gotten published in a pretty big publication in Australia because of it, like an actual kind of like an e-magazine that's also a physical product. It's been awesome. I think, you know, you in today's world, you mentioned it too, content is king, right? And ultimately, I think for most people, the fear is like putting themselves out there, authentically sharing who they are. I mean, Ilan and I are extremely raw in our podcast. Like, if we're going through health problems, relational problems, you know, whatever it might be, we just openly share about the things that most people kind of just either share within their close personal friends or within their family members. And then we talk about how we're perceiving those issues as opportunities to grow from and empower ourselves. And this is really what we train on. So I really think it's one of the best mediums, especially if you're in a business like we're in, which is all about the personal relationship, because no one's paying you $10,000 a month for coaching if they don't feel like you have authority in an area of life that they want to grow into. So, you know, just sharing that stuff. But for Ilan and I, the context really is, we see with what you mentioned, Gary Vee. You know, we see with a lot of entrepreneurs, even high-end entrepreneurs like Gary Vee, who are just crushing it and have an amazing following, who then might have, you know, like not a great relationship with his wife or their kids, or their health is in disarray. And for us, it's like we really don't separate our business from our personal life, from our health, from our interpersonal relationships, and all that kind of stuff. And we really just want balance everywhere. And for us, that's just what a quality life is.
Man, I love that. I think especially, guys, you're making mention there, it kind of goes back to the old idea as far as people are going to do business with people who they know, like, and trust. And I think there's probably no better way of doing that than seeing them in that raw, pure state that you're actually in. And especially, I know, Ilan, you made mention as far as you guys actually are having coaches on the call, or you're actually doing your coaching calls or a sample of that. And it's no better way for a person to actually get a flavor of what you're doing than actually see you guys in action. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that was the concept, because it's a lot of times, you know, someone's, even if they're thinking about looking for a coach, there's always this hesitation of, well, is this the right coach? Is this the right person for me? And I feel like even if you went to our website, you're going to have a really good sense of who we are and what we stand for, what our mission, what our vision is. And then you add on to that speaking engagements that we've put together, coaching calls that we put on, and you just get a really good sense. And for us, we're only looking to work with people who are an absolute yes to working with us. If you're like teetering, it's this, it's a money, it's a time, I'm like, look, we're not the right people. Because I know that if you absolutely want to work with us, you'll move mountains to make it happen. And those are the kind of people we're looking to work with.
That's awesome. So I know that this drives to your page, which is Satori Prime. Is that right? Is that where you take people to? So at Satori Prime, then, what's the funnel that the people are going to go through?
So right now we're like a week out from actually launching this brand new funnel. So probably by the time this will be released, that will be live. We wanted to do something different and unique. We know there's a lot of studies being done about gamifying things, and so we've built an app that creates missions of sorts that people go through. Because a lot of times people will start a process and they don't finish it. So this app actually allows us to break things up into little missions, and then on each mission you take a goal, you take an action. There's also a community aspect where you can share the actions that you're going to take, follow up, have this whole community feel. So for people who are always looking to be in like-minded, growth-minded, I should say, communities, you're automatically plugging into that. And then through that, Guy and I can just share content exclusive just to that app. So the idea is get people, give them that app where they get a ton of value for free. From the app, there's a lot of different ways that we can communicate with them. And one of the ways that we're going to do it is we're going to actually host live webinars and invite people to take a look at our coaching programs and what that would look like for them. And then from there, we have a whole bunch of different options that they can go into: group coaching, one-on-one coaching, a hybrid of group coaching and one-on-one coaching. So we're trying to make it as accessible as humanly possible while still keeping it exclusive, I guess.
I think it's fantastic. I actually going through I've got Satori Prime up here on my computer as we've been talking here. Your site's great because you're right. People get to know you guys really fast, and they've got multiple opportunities as far as opting in. So when they opt in, kind of tell me what's the first thing they're going to get.
Yeah, we're really soft on our approach. When we've sold a lot of like Facebook training programs, and we used to do a lot of like the launch model. So, people were opting in for a very specific reason. Again, because of the nature of our business, clients, whether low end, high end, mid tier, whatever kind of clients, everything is just based on interpersonal relationships. So the more FaceTime we can get with people, the more they can get on training with us and just kind of get a sense of how we do coaching, stuff like that. So honestly, we don't push product very hard at all. We do have a new evergreen webinar that's launching shortly here that'll be more directed to attaining customers like that. But currently, it's really soft. Like, you're going to get introduced to different trainings that we've done, like a live Vegas training that we did last year that's super powerful about creating and sustaining transformation. You're going to learn about our podcast, and that's it, honestly. And then once in a while, we'll let people know that we have a coaching program. You can go out to this website, check it out, and it's a really, really soft sell. And we just find that we want to create raving fans, essentially. And then it's really up to them to kind of take that step and say, hey, look, I love what you guys are doing. I'd love to work with you. And we just encourage a lot of personal communication. So, a lot of business people or salespeople will tell you to build a huge bridge between you and your clientele and between you and the people that you're coaching and stuff like that. Funny enough, Ilan and I are like the exact opposite. We want everyone to feel like they're part of our family. We hold our events like people are part of our family, and we talk to people like they're part of our family. And that's just what works for us, and that's just what's true for us. So, for anybody who's listening to this, I know there's a lot of gurus out there. Russell is freaking eats, sleeps, and breathes this stuff, and I think he's an amazing person to follow. And at the end of the day, you can always look at what people who are mastering something are doing it, of course, mirror it. And ultimately, I will tell you, in 6 years of being online, building a pretty big brand, millions of dollars in sales, it really didn't matter whose blueprint I followed. At the end of the day, I had to be true to myself, make it my own, and authentically share who it is that I am, and the passions that light me up every single day. And I think that if you are sharing your passion from an authentic place, you're going to magnetize people, because most people just don't have an outlet to live a life of passion, and they are looking to follow somebody who's, traveling the world and has access to time and money freedom and stuff like that, and they want to gain insights into how did you empower yourself to become that kind of person. And anybody who's mastered something in some facet and loves what they're doing, there's a natural magnetism there.
No, I think it's fantastic. Again, as I'm going through your site, it's one of the main reasons I want to have you guys on, because your approach is different than most. It's a very soft sale, but at the same time, it's very direct. I mean, you land on your page, very first thing you're going to see is pull up your tidy whities. It's game time. And I think that's awesome, because, I mean, it's like, whoa, wait a second here. I got to make sure this is something I want to do. And again, you get right into it. It's time to pledge your allegiance to your own badassery. You're sexy and you know it. From this day forward, you call the shots. From this moment forward, your curiosity, passion, optimism are celebrated. Your search is over. You're not alone. You're home. And I think it's, even though you've got a real soft sell, you come out the gate real quick, and you're able to separate those people who are just kind of looky-loos versus those people who really want to make that change, which I think, Guy, you made mention is really what you're wanting, is you want people who are really going to go all in with you guys. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
From that message, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, for us, what was important was not so much making the sale when somebody hit the website. It was that if you go there, you get an emotional sense of who we are. Again, like you said, people buy from people they like and trust. And that's got to there's got to be some kind of emotional bond, emotional connection there. We know that if you look at our stuff and you enjoy what you're looking at, you're going to have an urgency to find out how to work with us anyway. And we love that approach. So that's kind of what we were aiming for.
I think it's awesome. Again, your site, it's fascinating just to see you've taken a much different approach than a lot of other sites do. It's not, again, for those, again, it's Satori, SATORI, prime.com. I'd encourage you guys to go out and kind of funnel hack it, take a look at it. It's real direct, and yet at the same time, everything from colors and the design, it has a real soft appeal to it. And it helps people really find out about you guys without it being a brochure. It's very interactive, and I think that's awesome, especially since you're going into the gamification, which is, guys, one of the things I'd really kind of like to talk to you about next, and that is this whole app thing is becoming a huge, huge play. My only reason saying is we're actually toying around with creating one as well, and I'd like to find out more about the idea as far as the whole gamification, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Yeah, so for us, I mean, I spoke to a guy that built Digital Marketer Labs gamified sites, and don't hold me exactly to these numbers, but it was around these numbers. They obviously sell a ton of info products, and they found out that about 8% of people ever complete a product, which, if you're in the upsell business, that's a really shitty conversion. So they brought this guy on, and he basically studied all this human behavior and things like that, and built them a system and got that completion rating up to 40%. So you can imagine what that did to their back end sales, because now you have 40% of people completing your products. There's a lot of people that would want to continue on. And I remember hearing that and going, wow, that actually makes a lot of sense. And I know, especially in the personal development field, people get triggered, right? The whole point of being a coach is to take someone to that place where they get that little bit of an electric shock. They keep buzzing and they run back the other way. And we were like, okay, how do we stay in contact with these people and give them the tools necessary so that they can get past that hurdle in their life and actually see the result on the other side? So obviously all of us are carrying phones in our pockets. Email marketing is not something that's ever worked fantastically well for us. And I think just across the board from everyone that I speak to, open rates are going down, deliverability is hard, et cetera, et cetera. And meanwhile, everyone's on their phones. So we're like, well, if you could create an app that you can actually do push notifications to the app and give people real value, not like bullshit, I am here to sell you stuff, but in our space, give them a tool of the day or a motivation little video to get them excited about the day. We do a lot of that stuff on Facebook, and it gets really good replies. So we're like, okay, if we can do that to someone's pocket, that makes a big difference. And then ultimately, we know there's certain exercises that really push your buttons. And we know that if you actually fulfill on the exercise, your life will never be the same. So how do you get someone through that quote unquote resistance to get to the other side and feel the gold of it? And that's to see when they're not, like say they get stuck at level 5, okay? This system allows us to see, okay, they're stuck at level 5, they haven't checked in for the last 2 days, meaning that they're confronted by something. Now, we've coached tens of thousands of people. I know what's confronting them at that moment because I know what they're up to. So if they got a personal video from me or from Guy saying, hey, so my guess is this is where you're at right now, and you do that whole mind reading thing with them, which, I don't remember who said it, but like if you can describe someone's fear greater than they can, they'll follow you forever. So if it will seem to them like I am reading their mind at that moment, which I kind of am, and using that system allows us to really kind of let them progress. And if you can show someone progression in their lives, whether it's for free or for a low ticket offer, they will literally ascend through your line over and over and over and over again because you've delivered on your promise.
I love that. I think that's amazing. Again, it's one of those things, especially the area that you guys are in is really a soft topic, which is a hard sale. I mean, it's not like you're selling money at a discount. It's not like you have a real estate or an investment. I mean, people have heard about, personal development and the importance of, the mind and all that kind of stuff, but no one really wants to invest in that because it's so hard to say, well, what's my return on my investment for doing that? So
exactly.
I think the way you guys have done that, especially through a funnel, is fantastic. It's using the app and gamifying that. It's pretty amazing.
Thanks.
So tell me, now you've got them to the app, where do they go from the app? They start getting results. How do you ascend them?
How do we ascend them? So the app starts with just a 10-day kind of teaser series on how to actually create the life of your dreams. And then through that process, we're communicating with them throughout the process. And then we just invite them to come to a live webinar. And then the live webinar basically explains what our Have It All Academy is all about, who's in it, what you can expect from it, the level of coaching that you're going to receive, and accountability. And that's it. That's basically the entrance point into our world. And at that point, you're going through a 100-day transformation. And once you go through that process, you will be completely unrecognizable to yourself. And at that point, those people naturally want to continue the process working with us. And at that point, we have different programs that they can go to from that are more like 12-month-long programs. We call them, like us being the Sherpas of transformation, taking you through a 12-month journey. And that's it. And then from there, we have one-on-one coaching for really committed global impact leaders and things like that. So yeah, super simple. Live events, yeah.
No, I love that. Such a great sales funnel and a terrific sales ladder there. So what's the price point? You're going from a free app basically to get on the webinar. What's the price point at the webinar?
$14.97.
Perfect price point. And again, I think you made mention you're working with my friend Joel Irway on that.
Yes, we are.
As well. So, good shout. So the shout out to you, Joel, if you might be listening to this. So, but I think it's awesome. Again, my main reason I wanted to make sure I had you guys on this podcast is we've got a lot of people who think that they can't use a soft topic or they don't know how to sell a soft topic. And it's really you guys have done such a masterful job doing it, primarily because you guys came from much more of a hard topic area, being, Facebook ads and being the guys who, help people get their return on their investment on Facebook. So I hope people, as you guys are listening to this, you've been able to catch a couple of the ideas and things on how to sell a soft topic that actually converts through gamification into really taking that content and getting a massive return on your investment. So you guys are awesome. I love what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
So
thank you, brother.
Tell me, if you don't mind, since you guys are the experts at the mind side of business, you guys have obviously been doing this entrepreneur thing for a long time. What tips and tricks can you give to our listeners as far as helping them overcome some of the hurdles they face as entrepreneurs?
Fantastic question. Our philosophy is, it's going to sound super cliche, but seriously, follow your heart. I think there's a way to push yourself to success, and there's a way to get pulled towards your success. Like the masculine approach is I'm going to get shit done. I'm going to power through this. In the industry, you hear a lot of terminology like, hustle till you make it and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, I'm not saying you can't get results doing that. But I don't know about you, putting in 10, 14 hours a day, hustling, breaking a sweat. And by the way, Ilan and I did that for years. While it achieves results, it doesn't create true fulfillment, in my opinion. It doesn't actually create perfect alignment with really what's in your heart. It's just like it tends to put you in kind of this survival mindset. And from survival, you're wanting to get yourself out of this hole. And it's just this rigmarole that you go through every day. On the opposite side, it's like really following what you're passionate about. And when I say that, people often wonder, well, how do I know what it is I'm passionate about? I would tell people, look at actions you would take that are free of some kind of financial gain. Like if money wasn't a thing in our world and you could just do whatever the hell you wanted, like how would you spend your time, or rather invest your time with people in your community, with your friends and family? Like, what do people come to you for advice for? They come to you for advice on that topic because they see you as an authority figure. You've probably mastered something that they're curious about. And notice how you've done that with a sense of like effortlessness. So, whether you spend time reading books or playing video games, or you like music, or you're an artist of some kind, notice how when you take action in that area of your life, it's not like, oh my God, I have to go create music right now. I have to play this guitar right now. No, you love doing that. And I think we live in a world today where we finally, for at least the last 5 or 10 years, and it's only getting better and better, have access to tools that make it extremely accessible to go, get an education for a few months, figure out how to build a digital product. Even if you just learn how to do baseline marketing and then go communicate with people who are interested about that topic, in today's world, that's a business. And for most people who have some kind of digital product where they're really just sharing their own self-expression, trust me, making 6 figures a year is really not as hard as it might sound. I don't know too many industries on the planet today, even if you've been in school for 4 or 6, 8 years, even doctors and attorneys are barely making it by on 6-figure incomes today, or even barely making 6-figure incomes. The value exchange in our world is going through a massive transformation. And I think for most people, you have an opportunity to either kind of get on board, retool yourself a little bit in the digital era, and really understand that the future economies of the world have nothing to do with you going to be a labor force. Like that stuff is dead and dying. So our value exchange to one another in the future is really us sharing our passion and our mastery with each other so that we can help each other ascend in the areas of life that matter to us. And it doesn't take a huge monetary investment or time investment to get pretty well grounded in these skills. And I think a lot of people just avoid it because they're scared that they're too dumb, or they've bought into that they have to be a certain way, or that they went to school 10 years ago and they need to use that degree. And unless that's bringing you fulfillment, invest some time and some money, follow some great mentors, get yourself retooled, and then go live the life that you really want. I think that's just the most beautiful part about this 21st century living.
Wow, Guy. I don't know if I should just end the podcast here on that note or not. I tell you that it's
mic drop.
Seriously, we've got 10 mic drops sitting here in our office. So
awesome.
We actually, Russell has a new thing we're doing on Instagram called Drop the Mic Show. I just bought the domain. Anyways, that's,
nice.
Drop the mic right there for you guys because, Guy, that was fantastic. In fact, again, I hope everyone who's listening, you got to go back and rewind that. Too often you guys get so hung up on trying to make the buck. And I see people, you get burned out real fast after a while. And eventually you got to find out what it is that you really love to do and enjoy. I know it's the thing I've joked around about it a lot with my wife. Since we moved from San Diego up here to Boise back in August, and she goes, her whole thought was I was going to work less. And I'm like, sweetheart, if I wasn't getting paid anything, I would still do what I do because I absolutely love it. We were here the last 2 nights till after 1 a.m. just because we got a lot of stuff going on. And I'm just so passionate about the value that we're providing to entrepreneurs to be able to use ClickFunnels and other tools and resources to do exactly what you said, Guy, and that is to get their message out to the world. We were joking earlier about, Russell just finished his book. I know you guys just finished reading it as far as Expert Secrets. And the whole idea there is, find a message, build a tribe, and change the world. And you guys have totally, totally done that. I think it is so amazing just to see the success you guys are having. And I love how you guys went from starting off with the idea of being, we were passionate about personal development and being coaches, but, got real good at Facebook and thought that's where you needed to be. And then really just kind of shut things down to focus on what you really love. And the success you guys are having with Satori Prime and now with the app, I can't wait to see the numbers basically that happen here over the next couple of months as you get the app going and gamified that all the way up to very high-end coaching. I mean, what's the most a person would pay for one-on-one coaching with you guys?
We charge $120,000 for the year.
See, I hope you guys, as people are listening to this, they understand that people are willing to pay that when there's a value, and that's why that content, that what you guys mentioned, is so key. I just love that you're charging those kind of numbers. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yep. And if people are sitting there listening and that was like a jaw-dropping number to you, again, you got to consider, it's funny, I have a friend out here who's a really great coach too, and he does live events, and we were actually talking yesterday, and he charges $2,000 a ticket, and he wants to be at 5. Ironically, his whole messaging is around being fearless, and yet he has feared, putting that number up there, and because he sees that people have an issue paying at that level. And I said, well, if you throw it up to 5, you're going to have a completely different type of person looking at that. In fact, those people are going to have no issue with paying it, where someone in that $2,000 range, the people who are looking at it are stretching up. So you have to get that when you know within yourself, I think the number one disease on the planet is self-worth. And a lot of times people don't charge what they're worth simply because of some kind of cognitive dissonance, inner belief that's been programmed in since they were 5 years old. And it's up to you to go and do the work so you can relieve yourself of that, but also become somebody who can become more valuable in society by going through education and going through different experiences, finding what you're passionate about, all the stuff that we're talking about here. And look, somebody who's going to come pay you $10,000 a month for coaching, right? This is a person who is a high performer in their life already, but they know that there are these small little micro shifts that are blind to them, that somebody else who's operating at a high level will be able to see that, and the impact on their life, on their relationships, financially speaking, like the gains that they'll make over those 12 months. They'll compress something that might have taken 3 to 5, maybe even 10 years down into a 12-month period. And if they're making, let's say, an additional $1 to $5 million that year because of how they're operating, if they're having a better sex life, if they're happier in their marriage, if they're in the best health they've ever been in their entire life, $120,000 starts seeming like chump change for those kind of results. And that's really where it's at. And then for me and Ilan also, it's like looking at who's coming in our ethos. And if people are producing those kind of results, and that's the kind of people we're attracting with the level of conversation and coaching that we're having, that number is going to go up 2-3x over the next year. And that's how this kind of stuff happens. Now, granted, guys, we didn't start at charging $10,000 a month, right? You have to get the machine moving and build momentum. And we did that through the online marketing space and created a brand. It took us about 4 years of working with entrepreneurs and then kind of back ending them softly into coaching programs to finally be like, you know what? I think we're at this point right now where that we've known that's all we wanted to do. And we have the skill set, we have the people around us, we have the network, we definitely have the know-how to say, hey, look, we can do this, right? And that took us a while too. But in the grand scheme of things, if you think that took us 4 years to get to that place, what the fuck is 4 years in a life? College education? It's nothing. And I think a lot of people are like, well, if it doesn't happen in 90 days for me, forget it. Mastery doesn't happen in 90 days. Mastery takes 3 years minimum, I would say closer to 7. And Ilan and I are nowhere near being done. In fact, we always have this ongoing joke, we're just getting started. And that's our feeling for our business and for our life every single day. We just keep it exciting by pushing ourselves into what makes us afraid and in the unknown and dealing with what's uncomfortable. And on the opposite side of that is always just a much more beautiful life.
Oh my gosh, another mic drop right there. Holy cow. Jeez. I'm going to have to go video just so I can do the mic drop here. No, I think it's so important.
That sound.
Oh, yeah. I need to get at least a soundboard or something here. This is
audio.
Just hope. Russell was in my office last night, and we had this conversation about a friend of his walked in the office, and it's a guy he's known for years, and he's got a very successful business. I mean, 7-figure business, doing well, but he's always asking, for consulting free stuff from Russell, and he's known this guy as a friend for years, and he came in my office. I don't even know what to tell this guy. It's like I've told him so many different times. What you need to do is you need to hire a coach. You need to do these. He's giving him all the same advice, and you know what it came down to is one of the things I think you made mention of earlier there, and that is the fact that a lot of for most people their prices are too low because they just don't believe they can charge enough. And I think the best way of overcoming that is, in fact, I had this conversation with Justin and Tara Williams a while back, and that is, you can't charge $25,000 for a mastermind until you've paid someone $25,000 for a mastermind.
Mm-hmm. So true.
And so right now, the advice anyone who's listening is if you're stuck at a low price point, then the very first thing you should do right now is you should pay someone whatever price point it is that you want to charge. If you want to charge $25,000 a year, then you better go pay someone $25,000 a year and go through that course. As soon as you've paid it, you'll go, okay, now I can charge it. Now, I don't know why it's that way. I've seen it so many times in Russell's inner circle. I've seen it in everything. And oh my gosh, what you guys are saying is so true. We're going to have to get together and just hang out because I just resonate so well with everything you guys are saying.
I'm in San Diego, so come back, Dave.
Oh my gosh, I will be there at the end of first week of August, so count on it. I will be knocking on your door.
I'm sure you actually know a lot of this. We actually know a lot of the same people out here. Like Russell and I have run in the same circles. We've just never actually spent any quality time together.
Sure thing. Well, guys, tell me, as we kind of get close to wrapping things up here, any other mic drop advice you want to give to our audience here?
I just want to reiterate what Guy said. I think a lot of times people don't follow their heart. So I want to just take it one step further. People that we coach, what I've seen the most is they're building a business based on ego. What I mean by that is the building of the business is to prove something to someone that said that they can't, to get love from their mommy or daddy, to show the world that they're worth it, XYZ. And ego pushes people really hard to do really stupid things because ego wants results now. It's not building a long-term, what I would call legacy style business. It's just, let me get to the top of the mountain as fast as I can. I'm going to hustle. I'm going to grind. I'm going to beat myself to a pulp. And then they get up to the mountain and they've earned it. And they look around and they go, oh, I kind of thought this would feel different. I kind of still feel worthless. And then they look back and their health has gone to shit over the last 3 to 5 year period. They've busted every relationship. If they have kids, they haven't seen them or been to any of their events. And they're like, wait, was this really worth it? And so hopefully this is catching you at the earlier part of your journey. And if not, and you're at the later part, we're here to talk to you. But for those that are starting, make sure that you're building the business for you. Truly, like whatever your mission is, Guy and I built Satori Prime. Our goal is to transform the lives of 100 million people. So that's something that, I don't know, we could play the rest of our lives to play that game. And every expression of Satori Prime, and we've evolved multiple times through this process, has always been with that in mind. Yes, we could have done shady black hat, gray hat shit, whatever, to make a bunch of money. Yes, we could have come up with products that we built in China that would be meaningless for us and we'd make a bunch of money. There's a lot of ways to make money. The question is, I know for a fact, because I've coached people who are near billionaires, money after the study is after 72 grand that you make and your basic necessities are met, money incrementally, if not at all, increases your happiness and fulfillment in life. So if you're going to spend the rest of your life doing something, maybe, just maybe, you want to spend it doing something that you're actually passionate about delivering. Like, Russell is a genius marketer because he fucking loves marketing. He lives, eats, and breathes that stuff, and it exudes out of him. Like, he truly believes that marketing will set you free. And I love that. Like, that's his modality. Find your modality. And if that means, like your wife, helping moms find themselves again, she could do that for the rest of her life because it's a calling. It's not like I'm going to make money about this and prove to everyone that I can make a 7-figure business. And I think that's super important because there's a lot of noise out there that can get you trapped in that ego game. And man, it is, you just find yourself depleted at the end of it, and it's absolutely not worth it.
Man, I love it. Well, we're going to end on that note. And again, guys, highly recommend you go back and listen to this. There were mic drop value bombs everywhere throughout it. Again, Guy and Ilan, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Again, for those of you guys who are listening, funnelhacksatoriprime.com. I'd highly recommend you guys go there, check it out. Go through the app, see how they're gamifying content into true money. And the other thing, obviously, is increase your prices. And if you don't believe you can, then go pay someone else the amount that you wanted to charge. So, guys, thanks so much. We'll talk to you real soon.
Our pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Brother.
Thanks for listening to Funnel Hacker Radio Podcast. If you'd like to be notified anytime we release a new episode, just subscribe over at funnelhackerradio.com. In addition to that, we'd love to send you a free gift. You can find that free gift at funnelhackerradio.com/free trial. One last thing is we love giving away cars. So if you'd like access to a free dream car, all you have to do is go to funnelhackerradio.com/dream car and you'll get all the details. Thanks again for listening.